We all want our children to operate from a solid sense of self. A thoughtful parent empowers their child. Geez, just when you think you're home free, the pendulum swings. What's going on with praise undermining self-esteem? Well, think for a moment when you've heard a compliment you didn't feel like you deserved. There was a disconnect between your self-assessment and what the other person was responding to. Ironically, it has an inhibitory effect. You don't want to try again for fear you're going to be found out. You feel like a fraud. Well, children can react the same way. They can go into status protection mode. They'd rather not try the next hard thing for fear that they fail. They even did some research when kids were putting together a puzzle and a man would come in and say, oh, good job, you're really smart. And what they found, and then the man would come in, another man would come in and not say anything, just notice what the child was doing. And what they found is that the children that received the praise stopped trying so hard. They were worried that if they kept trying, they might fail and lose the status of being so smart, being so clever. Now, take that research and couple that with the fact that we know anything worth doing requires repeated mastery of more and more challenging levels of the task at hand. So the characteristic that leads to success is trying again and again in the face of failure. We want our children to feel good about him or herself, but unfortunately, you can't give that to another person. Self-esteem, in fact, comes from a positive self-evaluation, where the rubber hits the road is measured in resilience. The things we feel best about are the things that we've put forth effort and overcome adversity. When we persevere in the face of defeat, or we remain curious and suspend evaluation long enough to get to another level of competency, to get back on the horse, to wonder what happens next. I still think those moments of pure delight in your child are gold for self-esteem. We just need to not confuse them for judgment. What to do instead? Okay, whenever possible, witness with interest what your child is doing. Number 2, turn the evaluation over to your child. You can still show your level of caring, just use your energy and love in a different way that will help them build the muscle, self-esteem muscle they need. That's a muscle of self-correction and resilience. For example, you might say, I see you seem to play more aggressively in the second half of the game. How'd that work for you? Or, I noticed you studied for a couple of hours for that test. Did that help? Or, I see you really stuck with that puzzle. Did it come together? Or, what effect were you hoping for when you used the yellow in the painting? Or even, I see you got a D on that assignment. What do you think you're going to do for next time? Or, wow, I noticed how you worked on that project. You look really proud of yourself. Well, you get the idea. A close noticing and involves staying with your child instead of evaluating them, even positively. You're demonstrating that your child is worth paying attention to and that their efforts are noticed. It also suggests that they can think for themselves and, if need be, are capable of reassessing or rethinking things. Lastly, celebrate with them when they're proud of a good outcome or when their perseverance has paid off. There's a big difference between telling a child how great they are and celebrating efforts that come from inside the child.